Hey everybody, what is up? I'm a little early, but I'm super excited, and so is Nugget. She's gonna be helping me out today. We are making a wreath live, so you'll be able to ask me questions. All of the questions that you ask after I've posted something, you can now ask me in real time. I think Miss Nugget is going to be with us for a bit. I have a lot of stuff prepped. However, I will go over everything that I've done. We're going to be using a lot of floral pieces because you guys were so excited about, she really wants these pipe cleaners. You guys were really excited about the last floral wreath that I made. And so we're going to use lots of flowers and lots of bright colors because it's spring. So I hope that as I'm creating this wreath, I can look up and catch your questions or your comments and whatnot. And little Miss Nugget hopefully will stay out of trouble and not grab for anything. So here's what we are going to do. I am going to be using this sign right here. And I found this sign at Safeway, of all places. It was like on one of their end caps. It was super cute, or it is super cute. So I really wanted to use this, and it's just this little wooden, spring sign. And I have some ribbon to match. And I actually bought this ribbon a year ago, probably longer than that. It's this, and I was like looking for something to go along with it, and so that sign ended up being perfect. And like I said, I've already cut my ribbon. I'll go over all the measurements, everything that we're going to be doing for this wreath. And if you've ever watched any of my tutorials, you know that things can change minute to minute. So I have what I would like to put on the wreath. It may change. Let me turn off my heater. So it may change. So we'll just roll with the punches, and I'll show you how I do this in real time without any editing, how I really just roll with the punches. So again, I've already prepped my wreath frame just to save on time. So this is the 14-inch wreath frame. I've got the silver one right here, and I'm going to explain this because I know a lot of beginners are watching. So this is a 14-inch wreath frame, and then I put 22 pipe cleaners on here. What I did is I just started at the very top on this crossbar right here on the top, and then I just kind of went up and down, maybe about 2 inches apart. Why I did this? Just because I felt like it. There was no rhyme or reason, and I like to explain that because I know so many people, if you're like me, are like, why did you place the pipe cleaner where you placed it? Give me a reason. There's no reason other than I've done this style before, it works, and so we're just going to keep going with it. So we are going to do two different colors for sure. We are going to do this really pretty like purplish pink, and then we are going to be doing, we're going to be doing the poof method, like without the cuts or anything like that with this one. And then I cut piece 6 of these at 23 inches, and I'll go back over this again, 23 inches, and we're going to do the Woodland ruffle. I always get that one wrong, but that's what we're going to do with this one. And the reason why I cut 6 pieces is because there are 6 crossbars, and the crossbar is this thing right here. And I'm going to put one on every single crossbar. If I feel like adding more, we'll just go ahead and do it. But for right now, I have 6. And then we may do curls. We may do curls, and I have yellow right over there to do that if we do it. She's being so good right now. She's just like, what are we doing? And just so you know, her name is Nugget. She's my little orange tabby. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just open this up, and I'm going to just scrunch the end, and we're just going to place it in a pipe cleaner. And I know the camera angle is kind of up high, but I'm going to continuously show you what I'm doing. And if it gets to the point where we're just working so much down here, I'll just point the camera down. But this is just so I can see if you guys are asking any questions, have any comments, or anything like that. So go ahead and just pick a random spot to place your pipe cleaner. And I used the entire 12-inch pipe cleaner. I didn't cut my pipe cleaners in half or anything like that because we're going to be adding, we are going to be adding ribbon like in a bow. We're going to do a bow, but I don't know, we might add ribbon throughout once we're done. I'm just not sure, so I like to leave them long. Nugget, I'm watching. So leave them long, do 12-inch pipe cleaners, just in case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my mesh to about a little bit below my elbow, and I'm going to start placing it into the pipe cleaners. Just make sure that your edges, these edges right here, are facing down, and then just go for it and hope that your little cat doesn't try to grab. But anyways, it just feels so good to be back live. I used to do these quite often last year, and I don't know if you guys know the whole story of everything that has happened, but I had to take time off to deal with cervical cancer, but now I'm back and I feel so good, and it's just been so much fun going back into doing lives and whatnot and just creating. And I'm trying to get all of your guys' questions answered on some videos. And some of the videos, let me just be honest, they are so old and my memory has gotten so bad. They call it like chemo brain, that I can't remember exactly how I did that wreath. So I super apologize if I hadn't gotten back to you yet. It's because I'm probably gonna have to watch a little bit of my own tutorial to figure out how to answer you. All right, so I'm just going along, just putting this in each pipe cleaner, and you can, if you go, as you go along, or you can wait till the end to kind of, you know, pull out your poof, make it all nice and big. Sometimes I like to do this beforehand. Sometimes I just get into like the groove and I'm just like, just going right along. And this is an all plastic mesh with that sparkly thread through it. Just in case you guys are wondering. And again, I love that there's so many beginners on this channel because that's what I created it for. Even though I've been doing this for a while, I still very much like to stay with the beginner style. All right. And this is probably like the fastest method for me to do, this poof method. And I like the fact that there's no cutting. So again, very beginner friendly. If you mess up, which again is hard to mess up, really it is. I know we can overanalyze and be very critical of our own wreath making, but I promise it's very hard to mess up. Nobody's gonna know if you didn't go all the way to your elbow or not on a poof, unless it's very dramatic or like a drastic difference. But you can easily, like I said, pull this apart. If you make a mistake, don't like it, pull it all apart and redo it, reuse it with something different. So this is just going to be very, like I said, very colorful, very fun. All right. And we're going to pack a couple of different colors on here, possibly. This is what it looks like so far. Now it is kind of airy. We will be fixing that with some more mesh, so don't worry. It's one of the things that I used to be very concerned about. I'm like, oh my gosh, people are going to see the wire and it's not going to look good. And then, you know, I was speaking way too soon. And once you finally get everything on your wreath, you're like, oh, okay. All right, I was worried about nothing. Oh, hi, Joanne. Oh, I'm so glad that you're watching for the very first time. Welcome. This is where I like to do the lives because, you know, sometimes you want to be able to ask questions in real time, you know, because it is between my business and everything else that I'm doing, it is kind of hard to get back to the comments, and I'm trying to be really good about it. But here, either you can start a wreath with me, or you can just watch and get some ideas. Even if you're someone who's been making wreaths for a long time, I still watch tutorials all the time because I am someone that needs to like see other people's work to get inspired, even though I can come up with my own stuff, but you guys know what I mean. And so here's what we are doing today, and I'll show you guys the sign here in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead, once we get done with this, glue the backing onto it. And when I say backing, the sign, I ripped off all of the stuff that, there was like a little, oh, hi, Michelle. Good evening to you too. I know the Oscars are on, and Oh, hi, Sue. Yes, I'm so happy that you've watched several videos. I hope you guys are finding them very helpful and informative. What kind of work wreath are you using? It looks different. So, okay, this is not an actual work wreath. I did this one myself, and let me just pull out this poof and then I'll explain that. I'll go back over that for those who are just joining. Let me just pull out this poof. And as you can see, mesh is pretty durable. That's one thing I like about this craft, is that you don't have to worry about it being so fragile. Hey, Michelle. Nice. I'm so happy to see all of these first time watchers. Okay, so what I did is I took a dollar store frame from, I got a frame from the Dollar Tree. And what I did is there's a crossbar right here, okay? So I put a pipe cleaner at one crossbar, and then, excuse me, cat hair. I went, so this one I started in the middle, on the middle row, and then I went up, down, about 2 inches apart. I ended up with 22 pipe cleaners on here. If you end up with 20 or you end up with 24, no biggie. It's not anything that's going to make a huge difference. But I did 22 all the way around, like I said, about 2 inches apart. And the reason why I did that is because one time I made a wreath with something very, like with this kind of calculation on the wreath, and it worked well. So I just decided to stick with it. There's maybe somebody out there has made a name for it. I have no idea. I just know 22 pipe cleaners ended up on this wreath frame tonight. And I like to explain this because, again, I will say it over and over. I always wanted to know how come people had pipe cleaners where they did. Did it make a big difference? What was the purpose? But nobody ever really explained it. So I do love work wreaths. How long are your plugs? So the pipe cleaners are 12 inches. I got them from the Dollar Tree. Leave them at 12 inches. Okay, so I'm going to explain this to you real fast. So leave your pipe cleaner at 12 inches, and then when you fold it, usually the space between the two bars are fine. Right. Oh, Nugget, she's like a little circus cat. You put a stool down and she'll jump right on it. So when you fold it in half and then you wrap it, you usually lose about 2 inches because it's 1 inch. The width of that wire frame is usually 1 inch. So these are usually 5 inches right here. These two are 5 inches. Oh, the poofs. Those are from my hand to roughly about my elbow. Let's see. Roughly about 14 inches. That's how long that is. But yeah, your pipe cleaners, use the whole 12 inches because we're going to be adding stuff to them. And so yeah, so you want to have enough of it because we're going to add some Woodland Ruffles, green mesh. We're going to use the green mesh here in just a minute. And I'm going to take out these poops. We got a couple more and then we are done, and we're going to go on to our next color. And thanks again. Thank you. And so let's go ahead and wrap this up. I love, 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 love bright colors. Okay. Actually, we have 2 more. So again, to about my elbow. And I used a mesh roll that is 10 by 10. And I'll show you how much I have left over in case you're considering doing bigger poofs or you have longer arms. So let me go ahead and do one more. All right, I'm just going to cut this just a little extra and pull this a little tight. All right, so I'm going to place this down in here. Okay, are you going to do... So there actually isn't just the bottom row because I'm zigzagging back and forth. So I've done all of it. I went up and down. I'm going to show you the back of it here in just a second. So every pipe cleaner has a piece of mesh in it. All right, let me just wrap this around. Here's what we've got so far. And again, it is a little airy, but that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and add some more to it. And like I said, let me get this. I went up and down. So I did, like if I started here, then I just went to immediately to the next pipe cleaner and all the way around. So I didn't just do the top row and then I went back around to the second. I just went zigzag. So now we have every pipe cleaner with, oh, I lied, I missed one. Oh well. Sometimes I like to look on the back just to double check, and I see one right here that I missed, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take that out. And again, nobody's gonna know that I missed it. Maybe that's where we're gonna put the bow. So let me go ahead and unwind. And again, I'm glad that this happened in real time, because now you see, it doesn't matter how many years you've been making a wreath, things like this still happen, but it's still cute. So now we're gonna grab, the wreath is already grabbing it, the green, and we're gonna do the woodland ruffle, because we're gonna do 6. So far we're gonna do 6, and we're gonna do them at the crossbars. And if you're not familiar, because I wasn't for the longest time, this is the crossbar, right, where it connects, and there's 6 on this 14-inch wreath. So I'm gonna toss that to the side, and here's how it works. All right, so I'm gonna take one of my pieces of mesh that I cut to 23 inches, okay? We're gonna do it, I know it's hard to see, but I'm gonna fold this little piece under, I'm gonna lay it down, let me see if I can get far back, and then I'm just gonna scrunch like this entire piece. I'm just gonna scrunch, try to stay as centered as possible, and then scrunch, 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 until you end up with a bow like this, okay? I'm gonna flip it over and find where a crossbar is. The closest pipe cleaner to that crossbar is gonna get the poof. And I'm gonna show you what it looks like here in just a minute. And I just started out, oh, thank you. I just started out with 6. We may end up with 8. We may end up with more. Again, I really don't plan all that well. Like a lot of other wreath makers, I start with the base. It's kind of like making a recipe. You start with the base, and then you know what, you're starting to look into your pantry and you're like, oh, you know what, I'll add a dash of this, a sprinkle of that. That's kind of how I like to make my wreaths. So let's see. All right, here's one on here right now. And you can turn this to go this way if you want. You can turn it, whatever you want to do. And like I said, we're gonna add 6 and then see how that looks, and we may add more. And again, just fold the edge under and then scrunch like so. I'm gonna keep scrunching all the way to the end. And for right now, I'm going to do it side to side, like this way. So it's going to go like this, side to side. So I'm just going to, again, flip over, see where my next crossbar is at, and get the closest pipe cleaner. All right. And I love, it's kind of annoying right now, but I love that this mesh is clinging onto everything, because then you know it's not going anywhere. You know, so you can kind of move it around. You know that it's going to hold up really well, but it is annoying kind of as you are trying to put it onto the wreath. And even though I'm going across, if your wreath looks better with it up and down, definitely do it up and down, for sure. I want you guys to know that creating your very own style is what it's all about too, even though I love inspiration from other people. So we're just gonna nugget, and I've got to be faster than the cat. So thank you. I got it. I love bright colors. I always joke, I say my favorite color is glitter. Anything to be bright. Goodness, Nugget. Okay, she might have to go out. Oh, this cat. Nug. All right, let's get this in here. And so like I said, even if you start with a really nugget, airy wreath, where you're like, oh my gosh, again, if you're like me, you can see the crop, you know, the bar, and it, you know, you can see right through the wreath. Don't worry, because we're going to be adding lots of flowers. I'll show you all the flowers here in just a minute. This is going to be very spring-like. It's gonna pop, you know. And I'm not sure where you guys are at, but where I am at in Northern California, it has been dreary, rainy, cold, all the things. So I could use a little bit of color. All right, so let's see. I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to stay as close to like where the crossbar is. It doesn't have to be exactly on it. Just to, it's for my spacing, because I am not the best when it comes to like, oh, spacing it out evenly. So the crossbars kind of give me an idea of where I need to go. And again, we're not going to cut our pipe cleaners just yet, because we are going to do a ribbon bow, but we may add ribbon, you know, where we don't have a poof. So here's what it looks like so far. And yes, it's 10-inch mesh by 10 yards is what I used for the purple. And like I said, my poofs were about 14 inches in length. And this is how much I have left over. So if you wanted to even go maybe 18 inches in length, maybe 16 inches in length, it looks like you would have enough to do that. But yes, this is all 10-inch mesh. All right, so we're gonna do 2 more of these woodland ruffles. All right, and my next spot is about right there. All right, and one more. And then I'll show you the sign too that I have. And I know when you see the sign, you're gonna be like, how did you get this mesh color looking at that sign? I know it's gonna seem a little bright compared to the sign, but that's okay. That means it's gonna be unique, to say the least. All right, okay, so we got one more. And again, I'll show you exactly what it looks like. So now you can see the wreath is filling up. And a lot of the gaps are disappearing. Wait till we get the floral pieces on. It's gonna look even better. And I've got all kinds of flowers here to show, but all right. All right, here is our wreath. Here we go. So we have 6. Again, you can go with 8, you can go with 10, you can do as much green as you want on here. I just went with 6 because I was just like, you know, the crossbars, let's just do that. Here again is the sign for those who missed it. This is gonna be our sign. So see how it doesn't have like that bright pink on it or anything like that? But I think it still is gonna look good together. It's really just gonna make it shine. And again, the ribbon is gonna match the wreath, don't worry. And just so you guys, I don't know if your Dollar Tree has it, but look at these. So these are something that I got from the Dollar Tree. Super cute. I did paint a couple. I didn't like how they came out, but if somebody is an artist and can really paint these beautiful, I think they would be absolutely gorgeous on here. So here's one wooden piece right there. Here is another, and lost that one. The reason why I got it, because it had the watering can in it, just like the sign. And I was like, oh my gosh. And a little wheelbarrow, like super, super adorable. And I got these from the Dollar Tree. They were in the garden section, not necessarily the craft section. So here's all these little wooden pieces. I'll show you one that I painted, which I'm pretty happy with. See, I painted it like that, but I didn't do enough to put on the wreath. So anyways, so let's kind of toss that to the side. Now, what I want to do, we're going to go ahead and add, I get people asking about like, how do you do backing for a sign? Like this one had like a little like picture frame kind of stand thing. So I took that off. But what we're going to do, because I want this to dry in time, I'm going to glue pipe cleaners onto the back. So I'm going to find the center. I'm going to kind of bend it a little bit like this. And we are going to glue this to the back like so. I'm going to do it to the top and to the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and do it right now, just so by the time we get to putting the sign on, the glue has dried. And so I'm just going to grab my glue gun. And this glue gun is super, super hot. So it takes a minute. I'm just going to use the back of my scissors and just kind of push it down. And I'll show you here in just a second, because I actually did not find this trick out until maybe, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. So what I'm doing right now is just letting it dry like this, and it will, I'm going to use some of these. Do you think? Yes, depending on the thickness. So I do have a staple gun. Just make sure that the thickness of whatever your sign is going to be, especially if you're getting something from the Dollar Tree, that it doesn't go and puncture like right on through. Because I have a staple gun that has pretty thick staples, and it might work on this, but I didn't want to chance it. So a lot of times I will just glue. And this is kind of a heavier sign, but because I'm putting so much glue, I'm not too worried about this. So, but that's another, and again, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing the sign right now, is because I want the glue to really be dry. I don't want to have to worry about it. So this is what it looks like right here. Just going to toss that to the side for a second, and we're going to bring this back over. All right. Now I said that we were going to do a bow. Well, we're going to do that in just a minute. We're going to work on flowers. And here is what we've got. I've got all kinds of flowers because, again, you guys were so excited about the flowers that I did on the gray square frame. And I get people asking all the time, how do you use flowers on a mesh wreath? Well, I'm gonna show you. So this is a whole mix of flowers that I've collected all over the place. I don't just go to Michael's. I go to thrift stores. I go to all kinds of places. What I like to do though is when I'm doing floral pieces, for some reason, when I'm looking down like this, it's almost completely different from when I pick it up and I'm like, wait a minute, how did it go from oh so beautiful, and then I pick it up and then the flowers flop? I know this happens to more than just me, but your flowers flop, there's like gaps and whatnot. So I like to kind of lay my flowers around, you know, and then get like an idea of how I want it to look before I really start gluing. I'm the measure twice, cut once kind of person, especially when it comes to flowers. So that's what we're doing right now. And I'm just gonna I like to also push all of the floral pieces up, you know, like, because sometimes you'll get flower stem and the leaves all the way down here. Squeeze it all the way to the top. And then I like to cut the stem pretty short, like so, because I don't want it to poke all the way through the mesh. I just kind of want it to like nestle into the mesh. And so that's what I'm doing right now. And again, just all kinds of different floral pieces, and just do like so. How cute is it? Oh, it's gonna be so cute. I'm so excited. Okay, and feel free to use different, like mine are completely different. Like I'm gonna use some of these flowers, which are more plasticky looking, but it's all gonna look real. It's gonna look like a garden. That's what I want it to look like. That is our theme right here. And maybe I might just nestle them 23 inches. Those pieces for the Woodland ruffle, the one we scrunched the green, is at 23 inches. All right. So now we're kind of just going all around this wreath, and then we're We're going to start the gluing, and it'll be so pretty. And then we'll just figure out where we're going to put that bow. And I'm going to tell you right now, in all honesty, I can't remember where that missing, remember we missed one of the pipe cleaners for the mesh? It's already hidden. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you make a small mistake, you know, like what I just did earlier, you don't have to pull the whole thing apart. It's not over. It's not ruined. It's just like, oh, okay. Yeah. Next, you know, so don't, especially beginners, get so caught up, because back in the day, I would have been having a heart attack that I missed that one, and I would have thought the whole wreath is ruined, and it's not. You know, like I said, you can't even tell where I missed the pipe cleaner. So just go easy. You know, just make sure that you're always having fun creating. That's the main goal. And here we go. All right, I'm trying to mix this up. We're going to add a little bit of purple. Okay. Trying to mix it up. Stay focused on comments too. And I hope you guys are maybe learning a little bit of a different technique or whatnot, or how to use something. And I hope this is informative. So, all right. And I do have one of those glue pots, but I don't have mine set up right now. So we're just going to be using the hot glue gun and getting our glue that way. It's a little bit more tedious. Oh yes, thank you. Yeah, it's all right. I find myself, oh wait. Okay, and we're just gonna tuck in here. Did one purple. We're gonna do a couple sprigs of this pink. And this is the best part of all of this, is just being able to have fun, create. And there we go. We're going to do a couple of yellow. And I'm going to show you what this looks like. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to stand it up so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. And like I said, what we're going to do is cut this little stem right here small so we can nestle it into our mesh, so there's not going to be, okay, let me ever so carefully. I know some are going to fall down, but that's okay. This is how it looks. What do you guys think? So it's going to look like that. And then it's going to have that. It's going to be so cute. And then wait till we add the bow. So cute. All right. And then once it's stood up, I'm probably going to add more flowers, because I just want it to be ridiculous when it comes to the flowers. And I did talk about how come we aren't doing like those big elaborate, thank you, those big elaborate wreaths. You know, I see them and I love them. I think they are stunning. But I'm trying to, like, I don't keep every single wreath that I make. I have to take them to my store and sell them. And truth be told, in my small town, I live in a small town, I know what my audience or my customers are looking for, and it's definitely not maybe around Christmas. And I will do like those big elaborate wreaths if they are special ordered. But for the most part, you know, my customers are looking for something budget friendly. And so that's why, like, flowers like this, you can really go crazy with a bunch of flowers. Ribbon can cost a lot of money. And so, you know, you just try to, if you're making wreaths to sell, you don't want to go so over the top where people are like, that's beautiful. And, but they're not buying it. So just in case you were asking. So, all right, yes, we're going to do the ribbon just a second. Now, here's like the Jeopardy theme song. It should play right now, because now it's time to go in and glue. Now, I'm, again, not going to cut the pipe cleaners just yet, because I also love mesh tubing. And a lot of times I'm like, oh, I'm not going to add anything. And next thing you know, I'm adding some mesh tubing to my wreath just because. But again, I cut my pipe cleaners the very, very end. So now it's just all about getting this tucked in. Oop. All right. And like I said, I just kind of like open up the mesh a little bit to get it down in there. Just takes a little dab to get all of your floral pieces in there. And like I said, once you lift it up and you see how it looks, like I am, you'll probably want to add more in different places where you see gaps. All right. And I'm just loving how this came out again, the different pieces. And I recommend, if you are first time wreath makers and whatnot, go to your second-hand stores. It is amazing the amount of stuff that I find there. I find cutting mats, next to nothing. And that's, again, we all love to create, but we all know how expensive it can be. So I'm always trying to find stuff on a budget. There's this Habitat for Humanity Wreath store that's not too far from me, and they get a ton of crafting stuff in there. So I buy a lot of it there. And I do shop online, but a lot of it, like I said, comes from the Wreath store. All right, so now we're just working this back into the mesh. And we're just about done. And then we're gonna do our bow, which is gonna be a pretty simple bow. You know, after all of these years of making a wreath, I still struggle sometimes with wreath making. And so I'm trying to keep this bow that we're about to do very simple. I've got 5 different ribbons that we're using. Again, I got some from Michael's, I've got some from the dollar store, and it's already cut. I cut them at 16 inches each ribbon, and I did two pieces of each ribbon. All right, we're just about done, and I know that's the most tedious and boring part of it when you're watching somebody just glue flowers, but I promise we're just about done. We are getting there. And then we'll get to that bow. All right. There we go. And I think, oh, got a couple more left. All right, there we go. I think every time I say that, oh, this is the last one for sure. There we go. All right, we're gonna let that dry and we're gonna work on our bow. And I'll show you this in just a minute. And I might just add some more flowers, but I'll let that dry and then I'm gonna pick it up and get a different angle. So, like I said, before I add anything. All right, so here are my ribbons that I'm going to use. So we've got 2 of these. I've got 2 of those, and that's where the bright colors came from. And then that's yellow. And like I said, I thought about adding curl to the ribbon where I did the Woodland ruffle, but we obviously didn't do that. And then I've got a sheer color right here. Then I've got this checkered, white and green checkered. And then I've got this really pretty ribbon that has like little nodules at the end. I love it. And they're different sizes, but I think they're adorable. And I do have, just so you guys know, my Bodabra bow maker. And there are definitely different bow makers that you can get. This one I got many, many, many years ago, and it's just super helpful, especially trying to hold all of these ribbons. But we're gonna go ahead and start layering. So we're gonna start with our first ribbon. Like I said, 16 inches, oh, I should have said 32. So 16 inches one side, 16 inches the other. This is 16 inches, but you need 2. So we're going to, I did. I put the flowers directly onto the mesh. I put a little bit of glue on the stem and then kind of threaded them through just a little bit, but keep the stems very small so it doesn't go all the way through. She just cracks me up. All right, so we're gonna do maybe a little bit more than halfway. We're gonna pinch it like so, okay? And I did do the fancy tails already. So we're just gonna pinch it about halfway. And then we're just gonna put it in the center of the Bodabra, okay? Yeah, just a little bit over. This is what it looks like, okay? And then we're gonna take the same ribbon and we're gonna do this. So here's the top and then there's the end. We're gonna do the opposite on this side, okay? So we're gonna kind of pinch it like so and put it in. Now, what I like to do, so this is what we have, okay? So we have the tail over here, top, top. I'm going to take the two tops and kind of, I'm gonna make like an X. This is what I'm gonna do, okay? And then I'm gonna take this thinner one, pinch it in the same spot, and put it in my Bodabra, just like I did the other two, okay? And I'm gonna show you here in just a second. All right, kind of. All right, so this is what you got. So see, you're just gonna keep stacking your ribbon on top of one another. And then I'm gonna go with this bright pink. And again, now I'm gonna do it straight. And you kind of wanna fan it out as you're placing it in here. It just makes it easier when you go to separate it after you've put a pipe cleaner or a zip tie around it, or wire. All right, so we're gonna do that. Oh, pull that in just a little bit. And then now we're gonna go in with the smaller ones. Again, same process. All right. And then again, with the last one. I have glue on my nails. All right, so here, okay, so here's what it looks like on this Bodabra, okay? This is what it looks like, but we're gonna pull it apart. I'm gonna get a pipe cleaner and we're going to secure all of this. All right, so I'm gonna secure it as I bring it up. And again, you can use a zip tie or wire to do this. Here, and it is thick. I just wanna show you. It is thick, but that's okay. So just kind of hold on to it pretty as best as possible. All right. Trying to get that as tight as possible, just so none of the ribbon comes loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it like that. While it's not on the wreath, I'm just gonna kind of spread it out. Just open everything up and like so, and it's much easier for me if it's not on the wreath just yet. I know once I place it onto the wreath, I'll probably have to do some more adjustments, but that's okay. This is just easier this way. Just kind of spread it all out and it'll look super cute once we get it onto our frame. And then it'll all, once we get this onto the frame, it'll all make sense why we have so many bright colors and then our sign is not so bright. Huh, Nugget? She agrees. All right, I know it kind of looks like a big old ball of just mess, but I promise it's not going to. Let me, sorry about that, guys. All right, so we've got, for the most part, it's all opened up. Okay, now we're gonna bring our wreath back over like so. So here is our wreath right here. Look at all of the flowers. Super pretty, I love it. Now I'm going to up, oops, sorry, Nugget, up towards the top. Now I still have this tail on here. So I still have this piece right here, and I'm going to use this instead of the original, the pipe cleaner that's on here, because I just want this to wrap from the back and I don't want to bring the pipe cleaner above. Does that make sense? So we're just going to go ahead and put this, weave it through here. Okay. Try not to ruin any of the flowers or anything like that. Okay, see how it's coming along? I'm gonna get it nice and tight on there. And then I don't cut the pipe cleaner. I'm just gonna wrap it around the bar, okay? I'm just gonna wrap this around the bar so I know that it's good and snug on here. All right. There we go. Again, once I get the sign on, I may or may not add more flowers just because I want it to be ridiculous. I want it to be just over the top, swimming in flower. And so, like I said, you know, once you get it on there and it starts to, you know, when you pull down, you want to open everything up. You have to readjust, but that's okay. All right. There we go. What do you guys think so far? Flowers on mesh with a bow, super adorable. It can be done. All right. So now here is, I have these on here to help with that. So here is the sign. As you can see, it's been glued. Now I'm just gonna like puff it up like that to make it easier when I go to thread this through the, and I say thread when I go to like lay it on to like find my spots. So here is how it's gonna be. How cute, right? So now it, yes, okay, awesome one. I'm thanking you for joining me. So here's how it's gonna look. So even though, I just wanna say, even though this has no bright colors, nothing like that, you can still get this bright mesh and make it pop. It doesn't always have to be exactly what the colors of your sign. And I used to be so scared of that. I used to be like, oh my God, everything has to be 100% matchy-matchy. If it's not, it's gonna look ridiculous. Not true. Have fun, and if you see something, all right, so now that you're like, oh, I want to use this, I mean, we all know what looks good, but don't be afraid to go outside of the box a little bit, you know? All right, I'm gonna tuck this back here. All right. All right. Okay, and then, and again, I'm not cutting this, I'm just going to wrap this around. All right, so let's adjust. Let me just go ahead and adjust this and, you know, pull out our poof. Make sure nothing's really too squished. All right. All right, I think we're good. Okay. What do you guys think? How cute is that? And I personally love it. I think it looks super adorable. We've got the floral pieces, and so far, I think I'm good with the flowers. I love how it, like you said, how it has the different floral pieces. We've got some bright colors. It looks like a garden, right? It does. It looks like a garden. I love it. Had to get my finger from out from underneath it. I love it. I think it looks super adorable. Now, some people do place mesh, or not mesh, I'm so sorry, place like felt on the back to cover up all of their pipe cleaners. I usually don't do that, but it is an option if you're like, I really don't like the pipe cleaners being exposed. You can get any kind of fabric. You can even get maybe cardstock or, you know, like those foam boards that they have at the Dollar Tree. And then prior to doing any of this, cut out your circle, maybe cover it in fabric and then place it on the back in case you, like I said, in case you don't want to see the pipe cleaners. When it comes to hanging them, you can always just put a piece of pipe cleaner on the back and use that to hang. You can use wire. There's so many different options that you can use, but I just usually stick with a pipe cleaner, usually of what I'm using. So those are the options once you've finished it. So I'm so glad that you guys are loving it. Yay! Yay for the flower wreath. Again, I used to use flowers. That's all I used to use were flowers when I first started, and then I slowly, for whatever reason, got out of it. And then now, because it's spring, I want it to be bright. I want it to be beautiful. We've got our bow, and yeah, I just wanted to do something a little different. So I'm not going to bore you with me going through and finding every little pipe cleaner and cutting them, but that would be the last step that I would do. I would just go through, and it's a tedious process, but you know, you got to get them off. But just in case you wanted to add some more ribbon, say if you wanted to, like, you know, do like little pokes through here, or maybe add some mesh tubing, whatever it is, you still have that option because your pipe cleaners are still long. That is why I wait till the very end. But this is what we have today, and I love it. Thanks to Safeway for having this cute little sign. So in case you guys have any more questions, feel free to, how much will you sell that for? So I do have a tutorial where I talk about like how you price your wreaths. There is a bare minimum cost, like, you know, I'm also a candle maker. I make a ton of crafts. I make a ton of body products for my store. And not joking, when I have the 50-pound box of wax that I use for my candles priced down to how much 1 single gram cost. So with that being said, I take the price of the ribbon, not what it says, what I paid for, like what I paid for it with the tax and everything like that, consider the gas or the shipping fee, and price your ribbon out to like what it cost per inch. If you're using ribbon, cut it out, make sure you know how much it is per inch, and then figure out how many inches you used in your wreath, okay? And do that for every flower. If you bought a bouquet of flowers at the $1.25 store, you count how many flowers are on here, make sure that you include the tax, and you divide that up and then figure out how many flowers you used in your wreath. You've got to know the price of every little thing, every pipe cleaner that you use. It's $1.25 for a pack of pipe cleaners. It comes with 20 pipe cleaners, you know, figure out that cost. Always take your cost and divide it by whatever you got out of it, and then keep track of how much you have on it. And again, this goes for your rolls of mesh. You should know how much, if you paid whatever for a roll of mesh, how much it is per inch. And then again, calculate that. And whatever that cost is, that is what I consider a wholesale cost. And you need to times that by 2 at the absolute minimum. I do have a few tutorials on candles. People just don't seem to be super interested in them. I've been making candles for years. I sell them quite often. I sell a lot of candles in my store. You guys seem to love the wreaths, but maybe I should do another wreath tutorial on like how much you should be pricing your wreaths, especially for all of you beginners on here, because I see that so much on the Facebook groups. You know, what should I be charging for this? And there is a bare minimum. There is a bare minimum, and I'm telling you right now, if you are trying to get into this field to make some money, and you know, you're so excited and you go out and you buy all of the stuff, you go and buy all of the stuff because you had some extra money and you make your first wreath and say you sell it for way less than the money that you spent on it, but you're just so happy to make a sale, fabulous. That, I mean, that is totally me. But I'll tell you what, you get a year into it and you're going to be like, hey, how come I can sell a wreath and I've sold 50 wreaths, but I don't see the money? Or it's because you're not selling, you're selling yourself short is what it is. So, like for this wreath specifically, like, this was made for fun. I'll probably sell it, I don't know, probably like, maybe 45. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. That is not calculations involved or anything like that. I think I'm actually probably going to keep it. But yeah, you should definitely know what your bare minimum cost is to make that wreath. And I know that for some people, it's going to be like, oh, that's just too much of a headache. And I don't have that kind of time. I just want to make the wreath and have fun. Congratulations. Go for it. Do it. But you will find yourself as a creator, as we all know, we will find ourselves in a hole with a lot of pretty stuff and no money. And that is not how you want to have a business. So you have to learn from the very beginning and make it a habit. And you'll find that you won't have to do it for every little thing, because you're going to be like, oh, because if you write it down somewhere, as soon as you buy a bouquet, you'll be like, oh, I already know what those flowers are because there's 6 of them I bought at the $1.25 store. It's blah, blah, blah. I can't do that math in my head that fast, but you know what I'm saying. Or, oh, I've got a roll of, a 10 by 10. I already know what that math is because I already have that information written down. So once you set your foundation for your cost, you might have to, make a little bit, like a little adjustments here and there, but you won't have to do it every single time. You'll have that information ready on hand and you'll know exactly what your wreath cost, times it by 2 at least, because if you don't do that, at least you want to be able to sell that wreath and then be able to buy more product. But if you sold that wreath for $25 and you got to buy more product, guess where that money's coming? Out of your own pocket. It's not coming from you selling it and making a profit. So I think I might do a tutorial on this because I really, really, really want to see, there are candle tutorials. If you look, there's a few. I just haven't done a recent one, but I will do a recent one. But there is one on pricing wreaths, but I'll probably do an updated version of it. But for all of you beginners, please just don't sell yourself short. Make sure that you are getting the price that you deserve. And don't forget, your time is worth money. Your time is worth money. It is the most valuable thing out there. Your time is worth money. So make sure that you are putting in that cost for your time, because I do it for every single product that I make. So anyways, well, that turned into a little something else besides wreath making, but I hope you guys found that a little bit informative, and then look for the tutorial, because I think that'll probably be the next one, just because, like I said, you guys are all beginners that I've been talking to here recently, and I want you guys, if you're going to be selling them, to get what you are worth for your creations. So anyways, it's been fun. I'm going to go hang that up in my living room to bring a little brightness into this gloomy afternoon. You're welcome, Constance. And like I said, I will have the tutorial where I will show you how to break it down and I will actually go into depth of the pricing and everything like that, because you got to price the glue that you're using. Everything costs money. So, and I want you guys, like I said, to be successful. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I am going to log off and go hang out with the family, and I will be back on here soon. I'll be doing another live. It's going to be cute. I can't wait. It's going to be another wreath. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. And if you're watching the Oscars, go enjoy the Oscars. And thank you so much for watching. So I will see you guys. Oh, thank you guys so much. Oh, I thought that was a nugget. Thank you guys. I'm super excited that you guys all joined, but it is time to go. Thanks, guys.